So Larry, I'll start with you. What does this mean in terms of what exactly happened today? What are next steps?
So nothing today happened that matters at all in terms of the short term. This is the beginning of a long process of review and comment. It will be several months before the FCC votes, and then when they do vote, all they're really talking about now is undoing this, what was done in 2015, the reclassification of broadband as a public utility. They haven't said they're going to undo the net neutrality rules themselves. They're looking for alternative authority under which they can keep them.
Does it matter that the FCC keeps reversing itself on these issues?
Oh, it does. I mean, it's terrible. Obviously, you can imagine for tech companies and for ISPs, this kind of uncertainty, this back and forth, it's like Groundhog Day. The solution, everybody understands in the long term, is for Congress to act, pass a law, make clear what the rules are, make clear the FCC's authority, and get us out of this mess.
David, you know, how do you think the uncertainty is impacting the tech companies like Facebook, like Google, like Netflix?
I mean, clearly they don't like flip-flopping uncertainty, but I actually don't think it's hurt them very much. I mean, first of all, these companies have so much money they can spend a few more dollars on lobbying if need be. But honestly, I think the basic point of view I have on the extreme rhetoric that's been surrounding this discussion is that it's really overheated and not appropriate. That there's never been any real sign of fundamental impropriety on the part of carriers, even though there certainly could be. We actually haven't seen any. So I see there's sort of an anti-corporate mindset among many people that leads them to just plain suspect that AT&T and Verizon and others are going to be nasty players, and therefore they ought to have rules to prevent them from possibly doing things down the road. But you could easily make the same argument about Facebook and Google, which are the ones supposedly celebrating the fact that the rules are being, changed. Or complaining about the fact the rules are being changed. Sorry.
Larry, are we ever going to be able to consider the issue settled if the rules keep changing?
No, I don't think they'll settle, as I say, until there's actual legislation. By the way, there was legislation proposed in 2015 before the FCC took its last action here. It was 7 pages. It laid out what net neutrality was. It gave the FCC authority. At that time, it was introduced by Republicans. Democrats expecting they would hold on to the FCC with the Clinton presidency, weren't interested in conversations about it. Now, maybe with this action, we might see some movement on the Hill.
Is there anything approaching a compromise?
Well, the bill...
Because the debate is so polarized.
No, as David says, the rhetoric is completely overheated and really off the charts as it was, every other time we've been through this. I was testifying a couple of weeks ago for the Senate. Both the chairman of the Commerce Committee and the ranking member agreed that legislation is the solution. They just don't think the atmosphere in Washington is really appropriate now for those kind of discussions. Maybe, as I say, that'll change with today's actions.
Now, as we know, you are on one side of this debate, and explain why.
So the side I'm on, by the way, is the side that's against public utility treatment, not against net neutrality rules themselves. Public utility treatment for ISPs is really inappropriate. It will hurt investment. It will obviously slow down the way in which we do, new innovations, new network investments. It hasn't had much time to have that take effect yet, but we're just one FCC chairman away. And by the way, the next Democratic FCC chairman is going to undo what this one did, so we'll just be right where we started. We could start talking about things like rate regulation, unbundling, all the things that will really kill investment.
David, on the other side, obviously, are the technology companies. How would they respond to what Larry just said?
Well, I think everybody would like to see clear rules of the road, and I think, in fact, even though Facebook and Google and others have sort of supported the overheated rhetoric criticizing the FCC's decision, I think it would be positive for all players if Congress actually focused in methodically more on the reality that the internet is one of the fundamental drivers of the American economy, and as a result, we need to really think methodically at a policy level about how to make it grow in every respect. And I do think that's something that Republicans and Democrats, and to some extent right and left, activists, non-activists, all more or less agree on. It's healthy that we're having a debate that's forcing Congress to think about it more than they have, because in general, they haven't thought about any of this stuff nearly enough.
How long is this going to take, Larry?
Well, it's been 12.
How long are we going to be talking about
It's been 12 years so far, so, you know, happy anniversary. We will keep talking about it until Congress acts. I don't think anyone...
And when is that going to happen?
Well, as I say now, what the Democrats are saying is the climate in Washington, not just about this issue, but obviously in general, is completely toxic. The FCC could vote, you know, in 3 months, 4 months on this proposal, and in that period, I think we've got an opportunity. There's pressure now. There's going to be a lot of public. We're going to hear so much more rhetoric. You can't even imagine what we haven't heard that we already heard today. That may give us the opportunity over the next 3 or 4 months to get something done in Congress. I'm cautiously optimistic.